Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. Manchester United need to get back to winning ways in the Premier League. We have only won one of our last 4 league games. We do play West Brom tomorrow at the Hawthorns. I'm expecting Manchester United to win that game. We've won our last 2 visits to the Hawthorns. We haven't travelled to the Hawthorns since 2017. We had a very good game at the Hawthorns back in 2013. We drew 5-5. That was Alex Ferguson's last game in charge of Manchester United. We did beat West Brom earlier on this season at Old Trafford 1-0. It was a controversial penalty decision. But I've got to say that game at Old Trafford was very poor and it lacked quality. We are now sitting third in the Premier League because obviously Leicester beat Liverpool 3-1 today. We've got a very good away record. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. The last time we lost away from home in the Premier League was to Liverpool back in January 2020. But West Brom, they are a very poor team. They are in the relegation zone. I think they will go back down this season. Their current manager is Sam Allardyce. They appointed Sam Allardyce in earlier on this season to replace Slaven Bilic. West Brom sacked Slaven Bilic. Now I do know a few of their players. They've obviously got that Karlan Grant. They've got Grady Diangana. He's been out with injury. They've got Callum Robinson. They've got Matheus Pereira. Matheus Pereira is probably one of their best players. They've got Kanu. They've got Connor Townsend. They've got Conor Gallagher. I think they got him on loan from Chelsea. They've got Branislav Ivanovic. They've got Kieran Gibbs. They've got Maitland-Niles. They recently got him from Arsenal. They've also got Bartley. They've got Jake Livermore. They've got Robert Snodgrass. Obviously, they've got Sam Johnstone. He's one of their goalkeepers. He's West Brom's first choice goalkeeper. He's a former Man United goalkeeper, so I presume he's going to be reuniting with Man United tomorrow. After West Brom, we have got Real Sociedad in the Europa League. It's the round of 32 and it is the first leg. The first leg is going to be played in Turin due to travel restrictions in Spain. And our next league game after West Brom is Newcastle. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did confirm in his press conference building up to this game that it's likely Eric Bailly is going to be available because he has been training. Bailly has been recently out with injury. Paul Pogba's not going to be available because he's out with a thigh injury. He's going to be out for a few weeks. Solskjaer also mentioned McTominay's impact in front of goal because McTominay has scored 7 times in all competitions this season. Also, Fred was mentioned during the press conference. If Fred plays tomorrow, it will be his 100th appearance for Manchester United. Also, the online abuse was mentioned again during the press conference, unfortunately, because obviously Rashford has been racially abused. Tuanzebe has been racially abused a couple of times, and not so long ago, Anthony Martial got racially abused. But yeah, in this game against West Brom, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to make changes from the 1-0 win against West Ham in the FA Cup 5th round. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has really improved as Man United manager. You know, because he's improved certain players at the club. Performances have improved in recent months. There's been some games where Solskjaer's got the best out of the team. You know, he's got us to the FA Cup quarter-final. We do play Leicester now. It's going to be a tough game against Leicester. We progressed to the FA Cup quarter-finals for the 7th consecutive year. You know, Solskjaer got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. Lost to Man City 2-0. Solskjaer did very well last season in his first full season at the club. He got us qualification for the Champions League. Got us third, the second highest we've finished since Ferguson. And he guided us to 3 semi-finals. And he has made good signings since he got appointed in as Man United manager. He's spent over £200 million at the club. And to his credit as well, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. But I am certainly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in. I think Solskjaer is going to be given at least another season at the football club. This is his second full season at the moment. And I think at the end of the season, Solskjaer will sign a new contract. I think he does deserve a new contract, reflecting on the progress he's made. Now, it says we will wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer. It says we are likely to offer him a new 2-year deal on one condition, and that's if we get qualification for the Champions League and keep pushing for the title. Solskjaer has 16 months left on his current contract. Now, a lot of Manchester United fans have disregarded the title. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did make an admission after our 3-3 draw with Everton, saying that we shouldn't be considered as title chasers. But up until that admission, he wasn't mentioning the title race. He was just taking one game at a time. But yeah, it looks very imminent now that Manchester City are going to win the Premier League. But I think we'll win another title at some point. Maybe next season, maybe next couple of seasons. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. You know, we have won 20 titles and 13 of them are Premier League titles. But Solskjaer does need to win a trophy this season. The FA Cup is a chance of a trophy. We are the second most successful team in FA Cup history because we have won 12 FA Cups. And the Europa League is a chance of a trophy. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. And a club of our stature need to be winning trophies. But we do deserve credit for sticking with Solskjaer because he could have easily been sacked as Man United manager. Because we have endured very bad periods under him, and he has been criticised a lot, especially earlier on this season, reflecting how inconsistent we was. But I think, you know, when Solskjaer was close to getting sacked, he handled the pressure really well. Reflecting now on Solskjaer's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience and he's learnt quite a bit on the job. You know, Man United is the third club in his managerial career. He's managed over 100 games for the club in all competitions. Before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, and before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. I still don't know if Solskjaer is a long-term manager for Man United. Time will tell. But whether he succeeds or not as manager, I'll still always adore him. He is a club legend. He was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance. And his most iconic moment as a player for us was 1999, when he scored late on in the Champions League final to win the club the treble. That is the club's greatest achievement, is the treble. But Solskjaer's been Man United manager now for over 2 years. It has flown by. We appointed him in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. In his first 3 months at the club, he was the interim manager. He won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. So reflecting how well he did, we give him the job permanently in March 2019. He is our 4th permanent manager since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. We've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson, and that was David Moyes. We sacked him after 10 months. He enjoyed the shortest tenure at the club. We finished 7th under the David Moyes era, and that's the lowest we finished in the Premier League era. Ferguson was obviously to blame for ever recommending David Moyes in, but the main explanation he recommended him in at that time is because they was both Scottish. Now obviously we sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield in his first season. I did give you the reasons why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era, is because he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players, and the board didn't back the signings that he wanted to recommend into the club. And to be honest, we're not really known as a sacking football club, but it's just good that in recent months and that we've been seeing consistency under Solskjaer. We have come from behind in a lot of games this season, and we used to come from behind a lot under the Sir Alex Ferguson era. No one's going to last as long as Ferguson did at the club, and no one's going to achieve what Ferguson achieved. Ferguson won a lot of trophies at Man United. He enjoyed 27 years at the club, but he didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United. It's a good job we didn't sack him within that 4-year period, because we wouldn't have had any success. Because before Sir Alex Ferguson, we was inconsistent. We weren't good under Ron Atkinson. We weren't good under Frank O'Farrell. We got relegated under Frank O'Farrell back in 1974, and we weren't good under Wilf McGuinness. We've spent over £1 billion on players since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, and we've brought around 37 players in since Ferguson retired. Don't forget, Solskjaer is inheriting players from other managerial eras. This year's summer transfer window is very, very important for Man United, because we do need to make more signings. Solskjaer did say that our summer transfer plans could be affected by the pandemic, but despite the pandemic, I'm still expecting us to make signings. I've given you the 3 areas where Manchester United need to strengthen up. Woodward must back Solskjaer in the summer transfer window, because I think the transfer windows Solskjaer's enjoyed so far, he hasn't been backed enough as Man United manager. And he has enjoyed 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. But Woodward has come out several times to show his support for Solskjaer. He did say towards the end of last year that he will back Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. He says, "We are prepared to smash our transfer record in the summer, and Woodward is set to hand Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a huge war chest to sign top players in all areas. Now, I think Solskjaer's priority is a new centre-back. He says Man United have a 5-man centre-back shortlist. Now, earlier on today, I give you the news on Jules Koundé from Sevilla. He says we will have to pay around 55 million for Jules Koundé if we are to sign him at the end of the season. According to the Spanish outlet AS, Man United, Real Madrid and Barcelona have made inquiries for Jules Koundé. Now, Jules Koundé's performances for Sevilla have been very, very good this season. Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. He's made around 70 appearances for Sevilla. He's got a £70 million release clause and he's under contract with Sevilla until 2024. He is only the age of 22. So do you think he'd go very, very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line? Dayot Upamecano was on our agenda, but we've missed out on him because he's going to Bayern Munich. Raphael Varane, he's been another centre-half on our agenda. But I'm very, very sceptical that we'll get Raphael Varane. He'll probably end up staying at Real Madrid. David Carmo, he's been another centre-half on our agenda. He plays for Braga. Tyrone Mings, he's also been another centre-half on our agenda. But I'm hopeful that in the summer we can make around 2, 3, maybe even 4 signings. Now, I did give you the news on Erling Haaland yesterday. He said Solskjaer opens up on Haaland relationship. And Solskjaer made a new Erling Haaland transfer admission. He said he's following Erling Haaland's progress. Now, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Erling Haaland. You know, Solskjaer knows the player well. Solskjaer was the one that gave Erling Haaland his debut at Molde at just the age of 16. Next year, Erling Haaland will be available for £68 million because that's when his release clause does become active. He's been at Borussia Dortmund over a year now. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him. He's got a contract with Dortmund until 2024. I think he scored like 38 goals in 40 appearances for Dortmund. But back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went up to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Manchester United. And I think Erling Haaland's father has spoken about his son's transfer links to Man United. Obviously, you know the news on Jadon Sancho. There is still a chance that we will sign Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer window. Now, we believe we can secure Jadon Sancho for a bargain. And Eurosport said we think we can get Jadon Sancho for just £50 million. And that is a reasonable fee. I did say, didn't I, that Jadon Sancho is worth from between 60 to 70 million pounds. Dortmund are facing a summer of exits. It says they could sell up to 8 players to raise funds. Dortmund have already reduced their asking price for Sancho to £88 million, so they're not £20 million off, because last summer Borussia Dortmund's valuation was £108 million. We was not willing to meet that valuation. So the actual fee was a stumbling block, wasn't it? I still believe that Declan Rice is on our agenda. But it was a disappointing January transfer window for us, because we only saw one arrival, and that was Amad Diallo Traore. But Solskjaer did say a few times during the January transfer window that he wasn't expecting any signings. During the January transfer window, we was focusing a lot more on the outgoings rather than the incomings. We saw a few players leaving the January transfer window. We saw Jesse Lingard go out on loan to West Ham. We saw Tiedemann Mengi go out on loan. Marcus Rojo left the club. Odi Nagalo said his farewells to the club. And Timothy Fosu-Mensah also left. And I expect more players to leave Manchester United in the summer. The summer transfer window will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. But like I said to you, these players that are really improving at Manchester United, you've got Luke Shaw, that's really improving. He's getting forward well. He's creating chances for his teammates. He's putting good crosses into the box, and defensively, Luke Shaw has been superb. I think Luke Shaw's had a good career at Man United despite his injuries. He's been at the club now for over 6 years, and he still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. Alex Telles has played nowhere near as much as I expected. But at one point did have COVID. We got Alex Telles in a deal worth $15.4 million from Porto. I think Dean Henderson, he's also done very well in the games he's played in this season. And I think at some point Dean Henderson will become our number 1 goalkeeper. Because I think he's reliable enough now to become our number 1, because he has got that experience behind him. He did endure 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. And before the start of this season, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract with Man United worth 120 grand a week. But yeah, David De Gea, he will remain our number 1 for at least this season. Solskjaer recently warned David De Gea that his place is not secure in the Man United team. He says no one's place is safe because they've got to earn their place. David De Gea got criticised a lot, reflects on the 2 mistakes he made in the 3-3 draw with Everton. He effectively cost us that game. David De Gea has made quite a few mistakes in the last couple of years. So you got to say now he is a liability reflecting on that, but he still had some good games this season. A few years ago, David De Gea was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. This is his 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. And Wan-Bissaka, I think aspects of his game have really improved. He's been getting forward well in some games. He's put good crosses into the box. He's taken players on at the edge of the box. And Wan-Bissaka defensively has always been superb. This is his 2nd full season at Manchester United. And he scored 2 goals for the club. We got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace in the summer of 2019. Eric Bailly, he's also done well in the games he's played in, and I certainly prefer him to Lindelof, but my element of concern about Eric Bailly is that he is too injury prone. Harry Maguire, he's done well in some games this season, but he still isn't worth the £80 million that we got him for. Harry Maguire is the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, and he's the second most expensive signing at the club, and he is our current captain. Don't forget he did have that incident in Greece before the start of the season. I think Fred is also really, really improving. Fred's been at the club now a few years. We got Fred in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. Paul Pogba, I've also got to say, he's really, really improved. He won Player of the Month for January, reflecting on his good performances. Paul Pogba's now out of a thigh injury, as you all know. He was out earlier on this season with an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. Now, Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. There is 3 clubs that are in for him, and that is Juventus, PSG and Real Madrid. It recently said that Juventus have approached him again. Reports from Italy said that Juventus offered 4 players in exchange for Paul Pogba, so he could go back to Juventus. Paul Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola, refused to discuss Paul Pogba's future. He said he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. Mino Raiola made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and obviously Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. Now, Solskjaer recently suggested that Paul Pogba could sign a new contract at Man United. He insists that he's happy at the club, and we have held talks regarding his future. Said a few weeks ago that Paul Pogba was considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicted his agent Mino Raiola for the second time. But his future is on hold until the end of the season. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. This is his 5th season in the club, is it, since he rejoined. He's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid £89 million for him. So there you go. And I've been very, very impressed with Scott McTominay. He's had good games this season. McTominay scored in extra time in the 1-0 win against West Ham in the FA Cup 5th round. It was a very, very good volley. He did well in the 9-0 win against Southampton. He did well in the 1-0 win against Watford in the FA Cup 3rd round, scored in that one, and did very, very well in the 6-2 win against Leeds. He scored twice in that game, and he also got an assist. McTominay has been part of the club for several years. I think Donny van der Beek is a very, very good player when he plays. He's played nowhere near as much as I expected. Most of Donny van der Beek's appearances come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league, and that was West Ham and Southampton. Solskjaer made an admission earlier on this season saying that Donny van der Beek is unhappy at Man United because of his lack of game time, but he's promised Donny van der Beek more game time at the club. We got Van der Beek in a deal worth £40 million, and Van der Beek can play in like 3 different roles. ESPN did say during the January transfer window that we rejected several loan offers for him. Bruno Fernandes, he's obviously an exceptional player. He's made the difference in the team. Marcus Rashford, I've got to say, he's really improving. Edison Cavani, he's made a fantastic impact since he's coming as well. Mason Greenwood's also done very well recently. But like I say, I think the players that could leave Man United in the summer is Pogba. Phil Jones, I think he'll leave this year. Phil Jones has been out with injury for the past 12 months, but Solskjaer's giving him a second chance. You know, Mata, there's a good chance he'll leave in the summer as well. His future's uncertain. And Matic could also leave the club in the summer. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very soon.